Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous night o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming.
I've just published an article. It's going to appear in the Tehran Times. It's already on the Russian International Affairs Council. It's at Veterans Today. It's at Phi Beta Iota. It's probably going to be on State of the Nation. It might be at Global Research, and it's also being published in China. The short is tinyurl.com/WWIII for World War III-no. What President Trump did yesterday was not good. I believe our president was lied to. I believe that this assassination is right up there with the assassination of the Archduke that led to World War I. So in this article, which is entitled World War III, Has Donald Trump, as President Donald Trump, lost his mind? May God give us a moment to reflect for peace. I outline 7 conclusions, analytic conclusions, and then I provide you a copy of the White House comment letter that I submitted this morning at 5 in the morning. Conclusion number 1. This is all about Israel trying desperately to start a war with the help of Wall Street, which desperately wants higher oil prices. Number 2, the primary warmongering within Iraq is being done by the Israelis and the Kurds. Number 3, the campers that were thankfully dispersed, I and some others had something to do with that. The campers were intended to scare Donald Trump into thinking that an embassy takeover similar to what happened in Iran was about to happen in Baghdad. That was absolute utter nonsense. This is a 140 acre compound. It's just insane. If Donald Trump approved this assassination, I think he was deceived into thinking that it was a good thing, and he was not told that it was literally the equivalent of attacking the Supreme Leader personally and of attacking someone of a stature of the Archduke Franz Ferdinand, which is what led to World War I. I mean, the Zionists are trying to start World War III, and Benjamin Netanyahu is a war criminal who is desperately trying to get himself into a situation where he can avoid going to jail. Number 5, I believe Trump is surrounded by 4 pathological networks of liars. The U.S. Army West Point class of 1986, which includes Secretary of Defense Esper, Secretary of State Pompeo, and Urban, who's the guy that apparently is blowing in Trump's ear and telling him these guys are good people. Christian Zionists such as Pompeo, Zionist agents, including both Kushners, frat boy Kushner and his wife, unwanted Ivanka, Christian CIA Zionists, Brennan, Haspel, and others. Now, I think Robert O'Brien is doing a good job as National Security Advisor, paring down and getting rid of all of the Obama warmongers, including the dual citizens with the Ukraine and Israel and other places. But I'm afraid he allowed the president to walk into a trap on this one. He's not getting a grip on the nuances of history. And part of the problem is CIA is not telling the president the truth about biographics and implications of things like this. I'm reminded of Vietnam. CIA knew that Ho Chi Minh was a nationalist, not a communist, but it would not tell the president that because it wanted to go along with the drums of war. Number 6, both the mainstream media and social media, I call it hashtag Google Gestapo, are very much in favor of war with Iran. War sells newspapers. These people are not telling the truth. And for those of you that missed it, I have published a review of Matt Taibbi's Hate, Inc., which is an utterly brilliant book that essentially tells you that there is no truth to be found in either the mainstream media or the social media. It's all about anger, and it's almost like WrestleMania has come to U.S. politics. Number 7, and I want to say this with great deliberation. A proportional strike by Iran would not be a strike on U.S. forces. It would be the assassination of Secretary of Defense Mark Esper while he is en route to or from his office. Now, I certainly am not calling for that. I myself have been threatened with assassination by the colonels in charge of a war-torn country where I served with CIA as a spy responsible for penetrating the extreme left. The colonels made the false assumption that I was an extreme leftist sympathizer and sent someone to tell me that I was going to be assassinated. I take such things very, very seriously. And I'm bringing this out and making it personal to Mark Esper because I don't think he understands that this is about to get personal. The commanding general of CENTCOM is just as vulnerable to assassination by people coming over the water into the MacDill Air Force Base compound. All of these people, including President Trump, are vulnerable to drone assassination. We are so far removed from reality on this stuff, it boggles the mind. So let me just end by saying that at this post, tinyurl.com/WWIII-no, I provide you with a complete copy of my letter to President Trump as sent this morning. I pray for peace. What we did was reprehensible. It should not have been done. The morons on Fox that are saying that this guy has more blood in his hands than anyone else has left us out. We created the Fallujah babies with depleted uranium. We have killed millions of people. We have put 75,000 U.S. veterans into hospital wards with amputations. We have done 750,000 U.S. veterans with mental PTSD and other illnesses. We have destroyed 2 or 3 of the generations of our own youth. It is the United States of America that has blood on its hands, not Iran. And I end by saying we may have assassinated this guy, but we did it because we are the useful idiots for the Zionist state of Israel. Enough already, as my Jewish friends would say.
So they're still rallying people together for January 20th, Martin Luther King's Day, which is not celebrated here in Virginia. That might change. Federally it is, but not in the state. So they're going to plan on going down there. And there's rumor that if there's over 1,000 people showing up, they're not going to be able to talk to any representatives. They're going to lock the doors. And then I was reading these tweets from this guy. No. In an exclusive interview with CNN in Tehran, Hossein Degan, the military advisor to Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei, said the response for sure will be military and against military sites. Donald, you stepped into the poos, man. You really did. You stepped right into the poos. This is all it was a setup, Donald. You're being set up. I know it's a setup because the Forward, the communist rag, these are the Bolshevik communists, their magazine, Calm Down, Killing Qasem Soleimani made us safer. Made us safer. In other words, they're letting their people know that Donald Trump is now going to be distracted so that the Bolshevik communists can go ahead and do their domestic agenda here in the United States. That's what they're telling their constituents, man. And it's very alarming to me because just because the military is now flying around the world buying oil, causing the market to go up, and Russians who don't want to pay money happen to do it or are driving around. Chinese, they're always in motion. I don't think they change anything. I think they continue with what they're going to do. And if you get in your way, then they'll morph into being a force, I think. The Chinese are just so pervasive. They just go about their business. Go around you if they have to. They'll go through you if they want to. So this is bad news, the Forward. Just so you know, bad news. Huh. I get distracted. Free conference call, hd.com. This is brought to you by Dial In, baby. When I'm online, you can dial in. Israel is a bunch of D-bags using us. Yeah. Yeah, Donald seems to like them a lot, man. I don't know. Donald's done everything he can to try to protect him. Now, they've got Donald worried about Iran. The market accepted it on Friday. It didn't care. It did a normal retracement for a gap up. It cleaned up at 50%. All the regular traders said, "Whew, everything looks good." So, yeah, that made them all happy. Oil going up makes sense. Gold going up makes sense, but gold's not going to continue to skyrocket, I don't think. Jerry Salenti got a little bent out of shape over that. Using us, capital U, period, capital S, period. U.S., that's a postal code, U.S. Just like VA, as opposed to capital V, lowercase a, period. Postal Service, corporate layer. My head spins. Calm down. They gave you reasons why he was bad. Now, I caught a video, it's not on this, of a guy, though I know how to get to it, I just remembered. He's a Jewish, Islamic, Christian. No. That would be insane. That's somebody who's really conflicted. Jewish, Islamic, Christian. All right. So there was an attack on Kenya last night, according to these feeds. Iran opting for total war against U.S. as asymmetrical war. Tehran will settle for nothing less than an American withdrawal from the region. Well, now for
Hey, you guys, thank you for joining us on Facebook Live. This is Pastor Shahram Hadian, and it's great to be back with you in 2020. Real quick, thanks to all of you who've been praying for my health from the heart attack back on Thanksgiving. At the end of the video, I'll try to give a little bit of a quick update, but I decided to do a Facebook Live today because there's so much going on right now in the world, and especially in Iran. And as you know, being from Iran, a former Muslim from Iran, I thought that I really needed to comment and really speak to what's going on, both geopolitically, national security, but also prophetically. As you guys know, a few days ago, there was an insurgency into Iraq, into the U.S. embassy. The Iranian-backed Al-Quds force was trying to take over the U.S. embassy in Baghdad. And this was almost a deja vu situation to Benghazi back in 2012. But folks, we have a different president in the White House now. We don't have weak Obama. We have a strong president in Donald Trump. And so the response of the administration was to send in at least 100 special forces to go in and guard the U.S. embassy. And then subsequently they got intel that there was a possibility of taking out a key figure in the Iranian regime, a guy by the name of Qasem Soleimani. This is the general of the what's called the Al-Quds force, ALQUDS, and he was also basically this is a force that runs the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, and these guys have been active for years. In fact, going back, the beginning of this insurgency. You have to understand that the Iranian government started the IRGC. And of course, some of you know that I left Iran in 1979 before the revolution, where when I left Iran in 79, right after that, there was a war that began between Iran and Iraq. And since that, the Iranian government has wanted to take over Iraq. So all of the insurgency into Iraq, even during the Bush era, during the first Gulf War, during the second Gulf War, folks, all of that, Iran has been having their hand in this insurgency going into Iraq and trying to take over Iraq. So this is nothing new. The IRGC was started back then. And so you may or may not know the history of the fact that Soleimani, this general, basically the right hand of the Iranian Ayatollah Khamenei, this is the supreme leader of Iran. This is the religious leader. Remember that Iran is governed by the religious leaders that are what's called the Supreme 12. They believe in eschatology. So this is incredible to understand here what's happening. Again, geopolitically, national security-wise, and prophetically, and I'll talk about the prophecy part of this in a minute. So again, just a little bit of background here. The Iran-Iraq war was started. We have the IRGC and Soleimani involved in Lebanon with Hezbollah. If you remember the Barak attacks in 1982, when they killed over 200, I believe it was 260 some odd American Marines, that was potentially the hand of Iran and the IRGC and Soleimani. This was a bad guy. So the strike that President Trump ordered on the Iranian, well, not the Iranian site, but on this caravan where they were moving, where they pinpointed Soleimani through intel at the airport in Baghdad. This is a incredible, striking blow in one sense. Now, yes, people say they're going to put someone else in charge. They're going to bring someone else up. That's true. But this was a blow to a guy that has been behind insurgency for years, for decades. And Soleimani was also behind hundreds of IEDs that has killed U.S. servicemen in Iraq, by some estimates over 600. Forgive me for noise. We're actually outside here on our property, and we got some noise happening over here. We'll figure out what that is. But I decided, since I'm still resting for my heart attack, to just do this here at home. So just to give you a little bit more background, Soleimani involved with Hezbollah, involved with Hamas, involved with the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, involved in Gaza, involved in the West Bank, involved in Yemen, involved in Syria, involved in Afghanistan. Folks, this is a bad guy. And just to give you a little bit more of understanding of what Al-Quds is, this word, you're going to hear it a lot in the media coverage, but nobody ever explains it. What is Al-Quds? The word Al-Quds means Jerusalem force. So the goal of Soleimani and the goal of the IRGC and the Iranian regime, not the Iranian people, but the Iranian regime, was to liberate what they believe to be Muslim lands. And folks, Bible prophecy, where do they believe is Muslim land? Jerusalem. Israel. They believe that land belongs to the Palestinians, belongs to the Muslims. So therefore they have to liberate. This was the goal of the previous president of Iran, Ahmadinejad. This is the goal now of the new regime. Iran has not moderated, despite what Obama was telling us, despite the nuclear deal that was devastating at the time. Thank God we have a president in President Trump who did away with this nuclear treaty. Thank God we have a president in President Trump that is willing to show weakness. And you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me Some of you who are younger in the audience may not remember this, but anybody who is a little bit older, kind of my age or older, will remember the hostage crisis, the Iranian hostage crisis here back in 1979 when they took the embassy in Tehran, 444 days. This is the exact difference in leadership. Under Jimmy Carter, the Iranian government thumbed their nose at the United States government. They would not release the hostages. We get a new president in Ronald Reagan. The cowboy comes into the White House on the day of the inauguration. He says, we're going to strike Iran. We're going to blow you up if you don't release our hostages. They took it seriously. They released the American hostages. Here we have a president now between Obama, again, the comparison, and Donald Trump. Donald Trump says, enough. You're not going to mess with our embassy in Baghdad. This is not going to be Benghazi revisited again, where that was seditious and treason on the part of Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama for leaving our ambassador and SEALs, or special forces, I should say, to die in Benghazi, an embarrassment. We know that was covering up drug and money and weapon running that was going from Libya to Syria to fund ISIS, folks. Back then, that was all proven. This is all ancient history right now. So the goal of the IRGC and this guy Soleimani wasn't just to fight these proxy wars. Their goal is to liberate Muslim lands, and the word Al-Quds, Quds, Q-U-D-S, is the word in the Quran for Jerusalem. Jerusalem is never mentioned in the Quran, but Quds is, and it is the idea that they want to liberate Jerusalem for Muslims, when we know that Jerusalem belongs to our God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and it is the capital of the Jewish people, and it is ultimately the capital of the coming Messiah. Amen. And so let's quickly talk about national security.
Yes, it's the entire Jerusalem issue. We're dealing with Jerusalem, man. All right. Let me tell you, these buckwheat padded headphones are truly comfortable. Now, they're a bit cheap, but it's good enough for me. Good enough for you. And I can totally hear the background noise now that goes out to the world. The beasts. Jerusalem. Quids. The guy's army is the Quids. So Donald Trump eliminated a guy's whose army has to do with Jerusalem. Did this guy get to it already? I had to run.
Everybody's up in arms. What is this going to mean? The Democrats are flying off their brooms, their handles.
That's funny. Brooms, handles. That was a Hillary reference. Way to go, dude. Totally get it. Islamic Revolutionary Guard. He answers only to the president of Iran. Here we go. They haven't updated it. So USA Today is donating effort to Act Now. So George Petrus of USA Today created an interactive graphic for that foundation. Answer: Act now to stop war. and End Racism Coalition. You can't. We can always stop war. We're going to fight to stop war. I am of duplicitous mind. Act now to stop war and end racism. So you can donate to these asshats, and then you find out that they're actually from Progress Unity Fund. It's always interesting, these Democrats, how it just continues to go down this big-ass fucking rabbit hole. And then economic justice. And you can donate to these guys, and then they have... and then you have to click, I understand that my payment is being made to Democracy Engine. So it goes down into layers here. So Progress Unity, you're donating are processed by our fiscal sponsor. Progress. Right. Communist Unity Fund, Progress Unity. And it rolls down to the next stage. And then these guys do it, and it's going to appear as Democracy Engine. I was like, what the fuck is that? And ta-da! There's Democracy Engine, man. Jonathan Zucker, CEO. I knew it would be a Zucker at the bottom of that fucking rabbit hole. Is one of the most innovative minds in political technology. Oh, it's all fucking business. Entertainment, it's all business, man. Get down to it. This asshat's wrapped himself in a flag. This one doesn't even put his face out. Penn Baker leads technician development efforts. These two clowns working together are making a fortune through USA Today's free advertisement. There you go, man. Tells you where they are. No link. But this guy's putting out the info. So every single one of these locations, if you were to show up, you'd be getting one of the donate stuffs, and they'll be giving you signs, donations too. And then so Communist Unity Fund would be getting money from other people, and they would already have the signs there and everything. Like USA Today gave them an in-like-kind donation to promote where you could go get your flyers and rally against it and work with the Communist Unity Fund. And what you're really doing is keeping Jonathan Zucker in lattes. There he is, man. Jonathan Zucker pushing communist unity. And I know we're in trouble because the Forward said so. Calm down, Democrats. Made us safer. Killing this guy made us safer. That's why we goaded Donald into it. True News pointed out that, you know, there's been a consistent buildup of troops that way. And, of course, the international news and other people are all saying, look, the United States is busy encircling the Russians. Okay. Now that... And we're trying to push the Chinese out of the United States, but Democrats won't let it happen. Everybody has read the reports in the news that Hezbollah and other organizations were coming through the porous border. One of the rags I read, What Does It Mean, made a good point that what we're dealing with this asshat Major General Salam, dealing with the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, just on its surface, it is dedicated to Dar al-Islam, the region in which Islam has ascendance. Traditionally, it has been matched with Dar al-Harab, abode of war, the region into which Islam could and should expand. The mental division of the world into two regions persists even after Muslim political expansion has ended. See jihad. In other words, they want the whole earth eventually. And then the rag pointed out, I'm looking for facts. I lost it. All right. This one right here. See, the reason I read stuff like that is because it truly does explain things. Okay. Dar means abode. Here you go. Dar al-Had, House of Truce. Dar al-Sul, House of Conciliation Treaty. Used for territories that have a treaty of non-aggression or peace with Muslims. All right. So these are our two avenues to deal with Iran on its terms. Otherwise, we're ignoring this and we're dictating terms all the time. But and then the militia, according to, I think, this guy here,
whatever you want to call it. My euphemisms are not great, but well, the president should have gotten congressional approval. Nonsense. The president is the chief of the military. The president, called the Supreme 12. They believe in eschatology. So this is on with Hezbollah. If you remember the Barak attacks in 1900, we have the IRGC and Soleimani involved in Lebanon with Hezbollah. If you remember the Barak attacks in 1982, that was potentially the hand of Iran and the IRGC, where they were moving, where they pinpointed Soleimani through intel at the airport in Baghdad. This is a incredible, striking blow in one sense. Now, yes, people say behind insurgency for years, for decades, and Soleimani was also behind hundreds of IEDs that has killed U.S. servicemen in Iraq, by some estimates over 600. Forgive me for noise. We're actually outside here on our property, and we got some noise happening over here. We'll figure out what that is. But I decided, since I'm still resting from my heart attack, to just do this here at home. So Just to give you a little bit more background, Soleimani involved with Hezbollah, involved with Hamas, involved with the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, involved in Gaza, involved in the West Bank, involved in Yemen, involved in Syria, involved in Afghanistan. Folks, this is a bad guy. And just to give you a little bit more of understanding of what Al-Quds is, this word, you're going to hear a lot in the media coverage, but nobody ever explains it. What is Al-Quds? The word Al-Quds means Jerusalem force. So the goal of Soleimani and the goal of the IRGC and the Iranian regime, not the Iranian people, but the Iranian regime, was to...
Right there. Yep. So I hadn't had to pay attention to Iran since Jimmy Carter. I've had it good, baby. I didn't have to get in the middle of it at all. I had it really good. I had it so good, no Iran. But now I have to have a crash course in understanding what exactly is going on. And it makes sense that Iran is acting on the behalf of the Purple Tie Gang at this point, because they're happy right here. This is the Purple Tie Gang, and I think Jonathan Zucker and Eric Penbaker is also very happy. I think they're ecstatic. I think they can't take it all, how happy they are, because Donald Trump is now distracted. And now Iran is saying they're going to attack United States military bases. Well, okay. Donald says, if you do that, we got 52 bases that we can attack of yours. We have 52. This SOB, man, Donald tweeted out one hell of a tweet. But first, what appears to be millions attending Soleimani's funeral. Yeah, look like a lot of people to me. But who knows what that is footage really of. I'm all, God damn it, out of control. Kurdish members of the Iraqi parliament will boycott today's session. They have already walked out. Now, I have to ask, when I read that, can the Republicans in the state of Virginia walk out and there won't be a quorum, and then the Democrats can't do nothing? Spectre Index. Breaking. This is in the middle of the night. Iran's Revolutionary Guards threatened to retaliate against the United States by striking targets in Europe. Wow, that's... Iran's army chief says U.S. lacks courage for military confrontation with Iran. Well, that's the other side of that's the internal military. Look at that. That is a big FN crowd. There you go. A little, I guess, I don't know. Which direction are they going? Look how they all have to funnel over a bridge. Symbolic crossing. They're all deciding to go to the other side. It's war. War, I tell you. What did I do? Oh no. Don't you hate it when you close a window? I do. I closed this bugger. Copy link. Let me see. See how it comes. There it is, man. Look at that shit. Sandbars. That's pretty cool. Look at that. Very muddy water. Dirty. It hasn't really flooded in a while. Wah, wah, wah. Wah, 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 wah. Look at that picture. Look at that technology, man. Who would have thought they knew how to build earthen dams or retaining walls? And then they have cars. The boats don't look all that. Look at the people on the roofs. There they are. And they have a radio tower on that roof. Fucking pigs. Look at that shit. It is so fucking dirty, man. Not that roofs in America aren't dirty too. I've seen plenty of dirt and crap left up on roofs. Including mine. Hey, look, they have billboards. And street lamps. It's a modern world. There's some sort of a speaker, I imagine, giving people entertainment. Look at that. Now, Virginians, if you could gather up like these SOBs, man, that'd be something else. That would scare the bejesus out of Forward. Oh no, what are we gonna do? Name of Jerusalem. All right. So Donald Trump tweeted back to the threat. Totally get it. I understand. He is WWP, man. This is all WWP. They're throwing shit at him. They're throwing shit at him like crazy. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and, instead of trying to drag, I was not thinking. Here we go. Let's see. Pop this up and make it readable for you guys. First he whines. All right. Okay. First compliment and a thank you. 95% approval rating in the Republican Party. Thank you. Then he says thank you to his supporters, and now here's his bitch. As hard as I work and as successful as our country has become with our economy, our military, and everything else, you know, success is not gauged in military. It is a shame that the Democrats, it is a shame that the communists make us spend so much time and money on this ridiculous impeachment light hoax. I should be able to devote all of my time to the real USA. You know, devote all your time to the Continental and the good people of the United States of America would be good. What's the real you? Real. Re and al is Ri-el. Real is real. All right? I swear to God, our language is pig Latin. Iran is talking very boldly about targeting certain USA assets as revenge for our ridding the world of their terrorist leader who had just killed an American and badly wounded many others. I don't know. Not to mention all of the people he had killed over his lifetime including recently hundreds of Iranian protesters. He was already attacking our embassy and preparing for additional hits in other locations. Now, he's funded by Iran, and who funded Iran? Obama. That's the billions that runs the Red Guard, man. He was already attacking our embassy and preparing for additional hits in in other locations. Iran has been nothing but problems for many years. Let this serve as a warning that if Iran strikes any Americans or American assets, we have targeted 52 Iranian sites. I don't know who put this bug in his ear. Representing the 52 American hostages taken by Iran many years ago. Some at a very high level and important. Okay. There should have been a comma after sites. Targeting 52 American sites, some at a very high level and important to Iran and the Iranian culture. And those targets in Iran itself will be hit very fast. That's just very hard. The USA wants no more threats. Everybody should pay attention. True News put out a True News. I'm going to. There we go. Copy link address. I'll put it in here for everybody. Here you go. The Godcast. Did the Pentagon use hypersonic weapons? So they tell you on True News. They tell you about New York Times putting out the article, which New York Times is working with Forward right here. That just shows you that Forward is in Donald's White House, and they got him. They know that after this attack, it's going to escalate as far as they're concerned. But Donald just made it clear that he has 52 sites, very high level, important to Iran and Iranian culture, and those targets in Iran itself will be hit with hypersonic, high explosives. The U.S. wants no more threats. All right. Breathe easy, America. President Trump is working nonstop to secure your freedoms, keep America safe, and unleash the spirit that makes America the most prosperous country in human history. He never stops, he never quits, and he will never bow to the unhinged mob. Wow, dude. That was very nice of you. Stop! You need to stop vomiting out this rando. What's a rando? Andy Ostroy, he's a Democrat. Political junkie, supports female filmmakers, Candyman. Dude's a pedophile. Why would you say Candyman? That's weird. Here's his social justice worrying to somebody who believes lies. Her faith is bad. She's been lied to and she's being handled because look what you're a scourge to the world. Look, Donald Trump wants you to be prosperous. Greta Thunberg wants you to die, Andy Ostro, and I think you should be rendered. You should go render yourself and do it for Greta Thunberg so that she can have a future, because We need someone like her in charge. She's an inspiration. She's not handling her life. Donald, two different. You can't even compare the two of them. Greta Thunberg is being lied to, but I doubt she has the capability to realize, because she doesn't want to give it up. She had to. Okay, Asperger's syndrome does not absolve you from deciding on being good or evil, or being Balaam. See, she's become a god in her mind, and so she's a Balaam. She thinks she's a god. That's what a lot of people do. And Donald Trump might think he's a god, but when he catches you in a lie, he does something about it generally. You see it. Oh, there you go. Cute puppy picture. There's a lot of bad men. Dear Trumpsters, we don't kill whoever we want, whenever we want. Who's we? We obey domestic international laws. Who's we? We inform Congress and get author. Who's we? We engage our allies. We're American FFS. Dude, watch the news. Notice how anyone is talking about is Iran and Solomon coverage of impeachment is virtually nothing. I think this wasn't planned. Yeah, it's planned by you guys. The impeachment is over. Andy Ostroy, you're a bad, bad man. You bad faith, man. Got a blue check mark and everything. This is America. Right matters. Right matters. Progressive activists. Communist activists. In America here, communists matter. Proud papa, perpetually pissed. Hey, at Real Donald Trump, this is what happens when you lie 15,000 times. You're a pathological liar with zero credibility. So, Andy, how come you didn't put a link to your 15K here? I mean, you obviously have info, but no, you're a carny barker. So we don't believe you. We can never believe you. We just assume you're lying and doing something that benefits only you. Interesting. Trump, Somali. Who do you support? New York Jets and Brady. You're a Trumpsters. Iran. Mega's all fun and games until you're sent off to war. Blocked by Junior, Ivanka, Eric, Cohen. Ostroy report. Yeah, every once in a while you find something. Oh, he doesn't exist. I'll try once more. Dude, oops, there's an error. I'd say that's the most prophetic thing that I've seen. God bless the United States of America. Yep.
Prepare to defend yourselves!